Hello and welcome to the latest episode of
The Ed Factor.
So today we are going to look at not an album as such, but more a period of time.
Yeah, a year.
A year
in Maiden.
The year is probably 92 to 93.
Yeah.
And it's Bruce's departure. Bruce Dickinson's departure. What leading up to his departure, the reasons for the departure.
Yeah.
The releases, a couple of live albums all released in
93.
Three albums released in the space of a year.
One made for TV special.
One made for TV special. So we'll have a look at those, but it's more a episode just discussing Bruce's departure.
Yeah, I think so.
Really, with those albums as part of that discussion.
We know we've done episode on Live After Death, and we've done an episode on Made in England as well, but we have to really... This is, in a nutshell, it's a bridge between two eras.
Two eras, and we felt that the albums are a real live one, a real dead one, and Live at Donington, 92. And A, considering those three albums are all released in the same year, and B, I think to do an episode on each of those albums, it just felt like a little bit of overkill.
A bit like Groundhog Day as well, but we'll talk about that later.
Yeah. We will, because I think you could use the phrase live album fatigue. Perhaps for
live after again.
Absolutely. So we're totally unscripted as usual.
We have not discussed this in any way, as anybody who's watched this or listened to us before knows. So we are going to talk about 1993, as I have entitled it on my notes, the year that Maiden broke.
Oh, right. Yes, I think that's probably fair. It is the year that Maiden broke. There may have been a fracture. Appeared since, I think, the Maiden England and Adrian leaving was definitely the first crack. But I think if you can check out our review of Maiden England.
Yes.
And you can also check
subsequent
out
reviews of
of No Prayer for the Dying. Which I think we both...
Divisive album?
Divisive album, but I think
we argued quite a bit about tracks we liked the best.
But I have a soft spot for that album. You can watch the review, and I think Chris actually wasn't really familiar with that album, but was pleasantly surprised.
I was. I was. Fear of the Dark was interesting too, wasn't it?
Yeah, the Fear of the Dark album we both
weren't
keen on at all.
Well, I was slightly keen.
You were slightly keener,
but not by a hell of a lot at all.
I'm not a fan of that album. So the Fear of the Dark tour is where I think we should start. Chris.
Cool.
So the Fear of the Dark tour is actually split into two tours.
That's right.
The first part runs from June to November 1992. It's 66 shows.
Right, okay, relatively short in Maiden speak.
Relatively short in Maiden speak.
Where do we start? We start in Norwich?
Oh, possibly, yeah.
And then they go to
the States.
I think, or is it Germany? Come on. Anyway,
I've just scribbled down
weird positioning of it anyway.
Yeah, it seemed to flit about from continent to continent quite a bit. But I've written down here just US, South America, Europe.
Yeah.
There's the one UK date in there, which is August 22nd, or 22nd of August, I should say. Yeah. Donington. The Monsters of Rock Festival.
Yeah.
And they also go to Australia and New Zealand and do a few dates in Japan in that period as well. So that's the first leg of the tour.
Yeah.
What happens then is, I think the band are recording this tour for a live album.
For a live album, yeah. Well, it's been a while, yeah.
Yeah. And the ideas are that rather than doing one show, that they would take snapshots, a song from lots of different shows.
Yeah.
With the idea being that fans getting the album would go, cool, that's the show I was at.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And that's the way I think Steve kind of explains a real live one and a real dead one. That's how he explains the concept. And he thought it would be really cool for as many fans to have a show that they were at represented on record. And I think that is one of the cool points about the albums. I think that is cool.
It's also going forward. If you think about even the more the latter live albums, there's some of those which are very much, aren't they?
Yeah.
Bits and bobs from everywhere. Flight 666, I'm thinking of them.
Yes, Flight 666 does that, and it works really, really well.
Nights of the Dead as well. I think does too, doesn't it?
Nights of the Dead's in Mexico.
Is it?
It's all one show.
What one is it? There's one of them is. It's not in vivo. Is it?
I'm pretty sure. I actually don't have Nights of the Dead, so I could. But I'm.
No, you're right. It's like
pretty
Mexico
sure
City.
It's in Mexico.
And then Vivo's in Chile.
The whole point of the cover, and there's a.
What album am I? It must be Flight 666.
It must be Flight 666. You're thinking of. But anyway.
I know.
Anyway.
Only 5 minutes.
5 minutes in, and we're off on a tangent.
Sorry. Apologies, folks.
Apologies. Yes. So that's the kind of the concept for what would become a real live one and a real dead one. There's songs taken from for a real live one. They're post somewhere in time.
Yeah, that's right.
And for a real dead one, they're pre Parsley even before. And we can bore you with the dates of those. Their first one is released 22nd of March 93.
Yeah.
A Real Dead one then is released on the 18th of October 93. And you get the idea. So most of them are taken from that first tour.
Yeah.
Now the idea of the tour was to be that it would be split into 2 parts, as we said. So the Fear of the Dark tour from June to November 92.
Yeah. There
would then be a break until March 93, when they would kick off what would become a real live tour. And that would run from March to June 93.
Yeah.
It's what happens in between that time of November 92 and March 93 that is crucial to the future of the band. The time was supposed to be for Steve to mix
a real live one.
A real live one. And I mean, this is the other thing. Martin Birch has now retired from Maiden.
That's right.
And I think it's crucial to say he is on record saying that he said to Steve Harris, "Is it not time you got someone else to produce now?" I think Steve was according to Martin Birch, was a bit taken aback by that, wasn't expecting it. And then Martin Birch said, "Well, I'm packing it in. I've been doing records for 25 years and I'm retiring."
Yeah.
You know, I don't think he actually just retired initially. He said that he wasn't going to do any more Maiden because if I'm not 100% into it, that's not fair to you guys. And it's more about
telling in it.
Me. I think it's telling though.
Something to do with the studio, maybe.
I think he's yes, and I think
I didn't actually know that.
On some of the history videos, he actually used the phrase he felt it needed a bit freshening up.
Yeah.
They'd been making records together a long time, and he felt that he was tired of making records.
Yeah.
And if he wasn't 100% on fire and on form himself, he didn't feel that was fair to Steve and the band.
Yeah.
But I have to say, I also think reading between the lines, he felt it himself.
Yeah.
Most importantly, Bruce was feeling this too.
Yeah, the writing is on the wall a wee bit.
The writing is on the wall. The writing is on the wall. So during this time, Bruce...
Well, this is I find this part, this is you've done your research, I've done mine. This is legend, this part. But I think I don't mean that by dumbing it with fault. It's being praised by saying it's amazing. It's just open to so much interpretation as to what actually happened. It's
what you would call the traps of oral history.
Yeah, pretty much.
It's people's memories and interpretations.
And time is a great healer.
Yes.
The other thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I think, and there's an element of PR involved in
absolutely.
This. I would probably say that about the way Bruce probably speaks about this period before he's back in Maiden. Probably slightly different to maybe how he speaks about it after being back.
Yeah.
But yes, it was a bit of a bitter fallout. I think.
I think sort of. What are the facts? when is he away recording this album in LA?
So he's recording this album. He's recording a solo album.
Yeah. A bit stop-start as well, from what I believe.
Yes, it's with a producer called Keith Olsen.
Yeah.
Who has produced some Peter Gabriel solo?
Yeah.
No, has he done Peter Gabriel solo albums, or is it that Bruce wants to do something that's like some of the Peter Gabriel solo albums? It's one or the other.
Yeah.
He has produced Whitesnake though.
Yeah.
And some of the big Whitesnake numbers and stuff.
There was a field sort of project there, wasn't there? With Chris Sangridis. I can't remember if that's before or after.
I think it's before. So I think that's failure number 1.
Yeah.
And he bins that project
and
for
that
some
was
reason.
With a band as your man Chris Sangridis. So who, if you don't know who he is, watch Anvil, the story of Anvil. He's the guy that they go to London, go to England with to record their latest album in that movie, which is awesome. But he basically he worked with a house band who were Skin.
Yes.
Who were, I remember reading Kerrang in 93, 94. They were around.
I remember their logo.
Yeah.
It was kind of black and orange.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
And they were around then, so but then he described them as a house band sort of thing. So maybe this is one of the things that propelled him into sort of a bit of notoriety. But
so
anyway,
are we right in our time, guys? If we're wrong in our
please
timeline
hit us
here,
up, because this
it's quite confusing.
Yeah, and when you read, it's like soup. So I was going to left from the hills there, but I'm not going to read camera. But so
I think you're right. I think
it was a balls up. It was more like it was very like Maiden, and he didn't want to do that, obviously. But periodically we know Bruce wanted to do acoustic stuff and Somewhere in Time.
Also, sorry, Chris. Apparently, Bruce has said that Rod pulled him aside.
Yes, this is one of my big points.
And said, if you're going to do a solo album, make it bloody good one.
Yeah. Put the effort in.
Don't just do any other thing.
Yeah.
And Bruce said to himself, he thought about that and thought, I'm just doing what we're doing in Maiden, which is kind of going through the motions, which really kind of tells how Bruce was feeling about No Prayer for the Damned and Fear of the Dark.
Because he still, even at this time, when you're reading interviews of the time, he still says Fear of the Dark was the best album that they made since Power Slave. You don't think that, and I don't think that, and 99% of you out there don't think that. But, that's a spin. I think that's PR. Obviously.
So when he's saying that, you mean when
he's between two stools there, I think, when he's saying that.
When Fear of the Dark is being released and he's out doing promo
we're
for
talking now. I have this, I'll show you this later. I have this interview from Kerrang, Notorious Hack Job that it is, from 93. And he says it in there.
Aye, that's what I mean. So he's saying that at the time.
Yeah.
So he's still trying to sell tickets.
Yeah, well, this is the thing.
That's what I mean.
That's post-announcement, that part there. So it's very interesting.
Obviously, PR.
Yeah.
He's between two stools. He's promoting the band. Privately, he's not happy. With the album. Yeah. I'd say that's pretty obvious.
Yeah, absolutely.
Definitely. So he bins this project with
project number 1 with Chris Sangridis and Skin.
And he then decides that he hooks up with Keith Olsen in LA, and he's working on a kind of Peter Gabriel kind of solo dark stuff, but not metal.
Yeah,
I think would
that's
be the way you would describe
keyboards
it.
and stuff.
And he's working on that. And then my understanding is that he's in South America and he sees this band called Tribe of Gypsies.
Right.
Which is Roy Z's band.
Yeah.
And he goes,
chuck that in the bin too.
Can't believe I'm going to have to do this. I don't know, someone introduces him or someone says you have to go and see this band and he goes to see them and he's like total inspiration, wow, why is this band not massive? He's just totally blown away by them. Apparently Roy Z was big, they were all big Maiden fans, so they were buzzed about meeting Bruce. And Bruce kind of hung out with him a wee bit, and
I don't know, like a kid in a candy shop like he is. The enthusiasm, I'm sure.
Roy was like,
I don't actually know this part, so go ahead.
Yeah, Roy said to him, Bruce was like thinking to himself, I'd love to work with this band. I should bin this Keith Olsen thing and do instantly. That's what I thought. Work with these guys, but they probably won't want to work like with an old fart like me. Kind of thing. But thankfully, Royce had balls and said we should do something if you'd be interested, and kind of met up with him then and cranked out the riff to Laughing in the Hiding Bush. So then Bruce was immediately went, right, this is going to work. You know, so I think he said to scrap one album halfway through is bad planning. To scrap a second one is reckless. So he was now on his third attempt at a solo album. He was going to work with this band. So I think this is happening whilst he's coming to a decision about, I think I should leave Iron Maiden.
Now, whenever he was doing his plug for What's This Button Do, massive amount of plugging for it. I also watched him doing the live speaking tour.
Yes.
And now, Bruce does not talk about this decision in anything other than a metaphor, and it's a quote from Henry Miller, which is, all growth is an unprotected leap into the dark with no idea of where you're going to land.
Yes.
Right? Now, he mentions it in the book.
He does.
He mentions it on every radio or TV or online interview that I got my hands on. You know, but again, I don't think that's how he felt at that time.
Do you not?
Not really, no. I think he's using that to sort of explain how he felt.
Yeah.
He mentions it, he doesn't mention it in this, from 93. He doesn't mention it in, I caught a MTV interview, 94 or 95 must have been.
Okay.
This is a latter thing. Great way to sort of put it together. But, and it does explain, I suppose, where he wants to go.
Yes.
You know, but I just think he was fed up.
Well, I both agree and disagree with you. I agree that he was fed up, but I think what he means by that phrase is, at that time, I think what he's getting at is he didn't know whether this was going to prove leaving Maiden. I think he knew he had to leave Maiden because he was bored.
No, that's fair enough,
But I think he means, is this going to lead on to a more successful solo career for me? Is this going to work out? Or is it going to be, I think he used the phrase commercial oblivion. He was completely aware that this could be complete. He may never sell hardly any records again. And I think the leap in the dark thing, I think that's what he means.
That's what he does. But he refers to it laterally. That's what I'm talking about, the difference between rose tinted glasses. I mean, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
Now, this is his reason why he did it. Maybe he read or maybe he didn't. I don't know. But
retrospective
way of
kind of describing
metaphor.
Yeah. I suppose at the time, to be fair, if you were in his shoes, you probably wouldn't go to the media and say, I don't know.
Yeah, of course.
I don't really know where I'm going next.
Absolutely.
You know?
No, and he sees the writing on the wall. That's the second time I said that today.
He does. He does. And I would... Sorry.
Go ahead.
I think one of the fascinating things about this is to then watch the Bruce go on a journey musically with his solo stuff, and actually finding his way back to. I think it is integral to Iron Maiden survival. Their, if you want to call it comeback or reunion, none of that happens if Bruce Dickinson doesn't find a way back to making critically acclaimed, amazing heavy metal album. In The Chemical Wedding. It doesn't. None of it happens, and all that starts here, and it starts with this solo album with Royce, which is Balls to Picasso. Then he takes a slightly different jump into more kind of alternative music thing, and it doesn't work. Skunkworks thing didn't quite work. And then because he knows Roy longer, he's since said that he should have got Royce to produce Balls to Picasso and made it really heavy. And I think when you listen to the songs, actually, when you hear some of them played live, in the Chemical Wedding tour, they actually work beefed up and heavy with Adrian and Roy on a guitar. Like it's far better.
Yeah,
absolutely. And it could have been a great album if it had been branded a metal album.
Yeah.
With that big beefy sound that Roy Z can produce, but he says in his book, but I didn't know Roy then. I didn't know he could do any of that. You only just met the guy.
Absolutely. So hindsight's a bitch.
Hindsight's a great thing, but that journey I think is really, and figuring out metal's kind of coming back as well. It's also about the trends, what's happening in music, and getting Adrian back involved, and and hitting Maiden where it hurts, which is the production. Yeah, that's really what's been missing, which I'm sure we'll maybe speak about. So Bruce goes and makes these fucking awesome sounding, brutally heavy albums.
Oh, they are amazing.
Yeah. So that's just I wanted to say that.
So how did he leave Maiden? What did he do?
How did he leave Maiden? Yes.
What did he actually do? What did he say? Now, the blame for this, right? We know it was going to happen. It had to happen.
Yeah.
Maiden wouldn't be here today if this didn't happen. I totally believe that.
Yes.
Right? So, 3 people at fault for this particular incident happening. Number 1, Bruce is feeling like he needs to get away, he needs to do what he wants to do. That's absolutely fine.
Yeah.
Rod opened Pandora's box by telling him to go and make the best album that he could.
Yes.
And Steve was Mr. Focused, one track, Mr. Maiden, Bomber Aris, Captain Aris.
Yes.
No deviation whatsoever.
None.
Nothing. So.
Yes, I would agree with that. I would also say that just to add what you're saying, that kind of tunnel vision of Steve's, it's something that has served him up to this point really, really well.
Really well.
But I think in this instance, it perhaps doesn't, because he the decision to try and produce himself,
I think that was a big no.
Is in my opinion, and you'll hear this probably in the next couple of episodes, is a huge mistake that nearly finishes the band. Really, and
but he instills so much support in Nico, especially Dave, and Yannick as well.
Yeah,
and how could he not, be, stirred by his own convictions to stick at it, because he's got a real solid base there. This solidifies him even more when Bruce sort of makes it. Well, Bruce doesn't make the announcement, does he?
Well, Bruce tells Rod, and Rod tells him.
Well, I tell.
Don't ring Steve. Bruce says, look, here's my solo. Here's some of the stuff I'm working on. Have a listen. By the way, good news is completely different from Maiden. Bad news is I'm leaving the band.
And you're going to have a solo artist to manage.
Yeah. And, will I ring Steve now? No.
Yeah.
Don't ring.
Yeah.
Don't ring Steve. Oh, will I ring Yannick now? No. Don't ring anyone. Don't tell anyone. I'll cope with it. I'll deal with it. Let me handle it.
And with hindsight, Bruce says that Rod was doing his very best to be the best manager that he could. I don't think that was the exact decision at that time.
The exact decision?
I think it was maybe more an ulterior motive than that. I don't know. Maybe he didn't trust Bruce to say the right thing. Maybe he couldn't really gauge what the reaction of the band would be, and he would need to have his band still in existence at that time. I don't know. Hindsight again, and in this particular episode, hindsight's going to be a massive thing. But I don't know. I'm not being facetious. I'm not saying no Rod Smallwood. He's a businessman. At the end of the day, he wants to make money. He's been the Maiden's champion for 40 odd years at least, more. But I think that this is all really, really strange.
It is really strange. Although
I don't think we'd ever get to the actual truth of everything that happened, or maybe it was said. I'm a bit of a conspiracist when this is concerned.
Unless Rod spills the beans at some point, but I would say
I doubt that. But
what you're saying is right, but it's also probably Rod has done that to. He's the manager of the band. If you think of the manager of a football team, for example, that guy's job is to not only manage the affairs of, but to manage the characters within a dressing room.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you got to know them better than they know themselves.
Oh yeah,
to make it work.
Yeah,
and Rod Smallwood's canny, and he knows.
Oh,
he knows them, he knows how they work, and I think there'll have been an element of his own control.
Definitely.
But B, how do I soften the blow here? Because Bruce just rings Steve and say I'm leaving the band.
Yeah.
You know, it'd just be a whole...
It's about taking the pin out of a hand grenade.
Exactly. And there's already the second half of the tour booked.
Yeah.
So it was trying to, right, how do we get the tour to go ahead?
This is it, yeah.
How do we try and spin this? How do I break it to Steve in a way that we can, you know, and probably just allowing for a bit of time and maybe cooler heads to make decisions about that, perhaps, maybe.
Yeah.
So...
Yeah, well, okay. I take your point there. Again, I'm just throwing speculation into it, but, you know, probably I can take that adage that, you know, the football manager analogy is very good.
That's probably what he's thought, and why it could be seen as he's sticking his oar in. Why didn't he just let Bruce ring him, or why didn't Bruce just go ahead and ring him?
Fact remains, so Steve is taking it back at a time when he's going through his divorce. It's well documented.
Yes,
not in a good place, and timing couldn't have been any worse with that respect.
Timing couldn't be any worse.
Nico loses his shit.
Nico isn't happy. No.
Would you like a quote?
Yeah, go for it.
He's going his way, we'll go ours. F him, let's get a new singer. Cut and dried. Sure he did. He's effing leaving the band, you dip ass. Of course he has. He said, F you, I'm off. If that ain't assing on you, then what the F is? He's been writing screenplays, books. He's got his fencing in his family. It could have been pressure from his wife for all I know. He hasn't said anything, but it's a possibility. Plus he went to LA, and you know, what with the effing W'ers out there, he exclaims, oh effing Bruce Dickinson, you're one awesome mother effer dude. Yeah, you'll make a great effing career on your own. Leave that bunch of has-been mother effers behind. Nico was not happy in that
Nico was not happy. So
which is a fascinating read.
That is cool. When is that
This
from?
is Kerrang, 1993. I got it in a reprint of this, which is about 20-year-old.
Right.
And but I didn't even look at that until I started going online and started talking about this Kerrang hack job. It doesn't say in there who conducted the interview.
Right.
But they were basically jumped on in Germany on the road, 93, and this is Nico drunk 2 a.m. getting the full thing.
Right.
And the journalist goes in to Steve as well, and Steve is, well, you know, he just basically says he didn't expect it to come
to happen.
He thought the divergence would happen where Bruce would be a solo artist and Maiden would be a band still.
So this has happened. That interview is during
that's the second part of the tour.
The second part, the real life tour.
Yeah, and there's 4 other things to say about that shortly.
So what Bruce apparently, when he said to Rod, and by the way, I'll do the tour, I'll do another album if they want to do an album,
right.
or if they just want to call it a day and do a big thing and you know that's it. Whatever way they want to do it, they'll do it out of respect, and I'll give it me all. That
which
was
is fair enough.
Kind of said, which you would say was fair enough.
Yeah.
Now, where this anger comes from is A, being left when, you know, but B, also Steve and Nico and Dave Murray are all on record saying that most of the shows Bruce was just mumbling. He wasn't, you know, his performance was shite.
Yeah. Some nights I see Bruce sing, this is Nico again, like he hasn't sung before, he admits. Tonight wasn't one of them. Sometimes I can't hear him and I wonder whether it's me monitors or effed. He's skylarking about. That's okay, that's the way he deals with it. Then, oh my goodness, it just basically, there's a riposte here from Bruce. Where is that now? He had his head stuck in the tubs. Where's that? That's hilarious. He goes on about Nico. Oh, I can't find it. Basically, Basically, he says Nico's wrong.
Right. I have read him saying that he disagrees with that. He says like that's nonsense. But Steve Harris is pretty adamant as well that and Dave Murray on the big shows when the media were there, and the cameras were there and stuff.
He said that quite a lot.
He was really, really good. But you know, if they were playing, I think Steve said if you know if you're playing in Paris, then he would perform. Yeah, but. You know, you got in the tour bus.
Montpellier
or something. You know,
this is where the quote comes from. You know,
right.
So here's Bruce here. Dickinson expresses surprise at McBrain's comments concerning his occasional epic performance on the current tour. I thought last night was excellent, he exclaims. Nico just sits with his head in the bloody tubs all night. Sometimes I'm running around, sometimes I stop or drop the microphone. That's rock and roll, I'm afraid. Ooh. Salty.
Salty is right. Yeah. I also...
I'll give you that. That's worth a read.
That is cool. I love to read that. I think now that is it in Bruce's book?
Well, I have to say, in Bruce's book, he doesn't really mention it an awful lot, he doesn't.
Well, I think he does say something about, in retrospect, he didn't realise that the difficult position I'd put myself in, because really it had got to the point of being a bit false for me.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, I didn't realise, I didn't think about it. As soon as I went into the first show, I realised, hold on, rock concerts are a celebration, and I'm going out there and saying, yeah, it's great to be here, but really, that I don't think it's great to be here.
And the guys who are buying the tickets are going to see a Maiden show, and they're like, who's this guy? Yeah,
and
totally the wrong thing.
He realised that, and he said, I didn't know how to play it.
Yeah.
And the other aspect that came into my mind was, what's the point in me making myself utterly indispensable? I'm leaving.
Yeah.
They're going to need to get someone else.
Yeah.
Like, so these are the kind of thoughts that you'd have. And I think it's just a really difficult thing. And if you've played in a band, we both have, someone leaves the band, or it hurts.
Yeah, and it just doesn't feel right.
Doesn't feel right, and that's
absolutely.
We're only on like local band level.
Yeah.
Imagine, if you've sold at that point 50 million records together.
And we're like still one of the biggest draws in the business.
Still a huge draw. Yeah, it obviously caused a lot of pain.
Yeah, I mean, it would be like halfway leaving Metallica, wouldn't it?
Yeah,
pretty much.
I mean, and this is their some kind of monster meltdown.
Yeah, absolutely.
This is it.
I'd love to see that. I'd love to have seen it. I'd love that fly on the wall.
Without the cameras there.
Yeah.
So it happens. The bands, it happens, and it must have been a really difficult tour to go out on, because Bruce just wasn't.
But you saw, that was your first Maiden gig, wasn't it?
So I saw them. I'm wearing the t-shirt tonight. On the 24th of May,
King's Hall,
It's actually the last UK show.
That's right.
On this tour. They only played Switzerland and 3 nights in Moscow, and that was the end of a real live tour. So it was the last UK performance with Bruce, apart from Raising Hell, the TV show. And now, I didn't get
that vibe
at all. I thought it was.
And Belfast is not, let's be honest, a mecca for rock music or anything.
It's not.
No, they never put bloody Belfast on UK tour date posters.
No. But the caveat I could put in is that at that time, Belfast still wasn't a place where everybody played.
That's true.
And therefore, you had a really energetic crowd, because it was a big thing for us.
Absolutely.
I mean, that was only the second time that Maiden had ever played in Belfast.
All right.
Yes, the No Prayer for the Dan was the first time.
Of course, the video.
Yeah.
They never played Belfast before.
No.
Didn't miss too many gigs in.
No.
Sorry.
No, we didn't. So maybe, perhaps that. Bruce has said that a lot of the places on the tour, he felt when they run out, at the start of the show, he felt that the audience was like, a morgue.
Yeah.
Because the atmosphere just wasn't there, because he was leaving and all. That's what he's saying. I don't think in Belfast that was the case.
Any rock stars, give us your SP and what you think Belfast crowds are like, but I've never been on a show in Belfast where it's been boring. Like, it's definitely class.
No.
Especially a Maiden show.
Especially a Maiden show. And whether it's probably not like that anymore. It's probably, now it's probably just like anywhere else. I think. But back then, because we had been starved of gigs, and lots of bands still didn't come and play, there was that, any place that's had any kind of strife or anything, I'll tell you, because you haven't
we had
seen...
a thing called The Troubles, which we're never going to really talk about on here, but yeah, you can look it up if you want. But yeah, meant a lot of people didn't come because they thought they would get blown up.
Yeah. So
in a nutshell,
those kind of places, you know, there's a real hunger for live music. When your heroes turn up, and you know, it's a bigger thing. And
yep.
One thing I do remember from the show was after the first or second song.
Bear in mind you were 12.
Yeah,
No, 12.
I was about to turn 13.
13.
Yeah, that's right. I was 12. About to
You're
go,
a week before your 13th birthday.
Yeah. I remember this really, really clearly because I thought, oh, it's quite brave. I remember two major things about the show. After first or second song, lights went out, band kind of walked off stage. It was as if, you know, they were going to do guitar changes or something like that.
Cool.
And it's kind of a little bit of...
Was the bomb scare?
Silence. No. But then lights came on and Bruce Dickinson leapt right out to the very, very front.
Yeah.
And went, right. Any of you fuckers gobbing the band again.
Oh, right, okay.
And you can meet me out the front and I will knock your fucking bollocks down your throat. We came here to have a good fucking time, not to be covered in your fucking disgusting
That's why
shit.
people don't play Belfast.
And
in those days,
of course,
spitting on
there's a crowd of them obviously at the front. We're fucking spitting in the band, right? And I thought that was really, I was like, whoa, that's a really ballsy thing to do. Just to give them a ball again and then go, right, don't go in the band. That's it. We're here to have a blast. Now, this is, you know, Rothschild or something like that. And off they went. That was it. The spitting had stopped. So, it was like, right, he fucking knows how to handle the crowd. B, it was ballsy. And there was an edge to the gig. And that might have helped, that's actually, great, because it happened, you know, first song or second song. And ironically, might have given a bit of an edge to it, you know. The other thing was they all were brought out to try Guinness during Afraid to Shoot Strangers, which they drank. And I remember Bruce running around, swilling on a Guinness.
They do that. They've done that. We did that at A Matter of Life and Death too.
There you are.
Right,
Yeah.
I've seen that as well.
So I remember that quite clearly, and like a little orange plastic seat. You were like a school chair. Where they were brought out. Bruce was sat on one swinging his Guinness while they were doing the instrumental bit. So it was a really good show, and I wasn't thinking, you know, Bruce Dickinson isn't singing right. To me, it sounded exactly like a real live one. It sounded, you know, that's what it sounded like.
Yeah. So all ends up that everybody's down. Steve already is down. Had this kick in the teeth. And I suppose there's this period where they don't know where they're going, this tour to do.
Yes.
And, you know, they have to get on with it.
So after the news has been broke to him, and it's Dave Murray
Dave Murray.
The silent man.
The quiet man. Smiley as we know and love. Dave Murray saved Maiden.
He saved Maiden because...
Convinced he saved Maiden.
It was the first, after the news being broke to the band, they had a Bruceless rehearsal.
That's right, yeah.
And they hadn't really spoke
together.
And there wasn't apparently an awful lot of jamming done, but
bit of drinking.
They had a couple of pints and then finally got round to kind of talking about it. Now Steve said he was thinking about jacking the band in, but he hadn't really said that to anyone. But they started kind of talking about, you know, should we, what are we going to do type thing. And it was Dave Murray who
said bollocks to him.
Because Steve said, oh no, he felt that the guys are going to be looking to me as for the strength to carry the band on. I'm a band leader, and because of the divorce thing, I didn't know if I had the strength to do it.
Just didn't have it in him.
Under normal circumstances, it would have been bollocks to him. We'll get someone else. But he was that low. That's what he was feeling at the time. But it's Dave Murray who went...
bollocks to him. Skipped away and fired out a riff.
He said he just didn't even think about it. It was just like, you know what? It just came out of him. He said, why the fuck should we have to not play just because he doesn't want to? Bollocks to him.
We'll get somebody else.
We'll just get someone else. Come on. And really from that moment on, Steve said everyone just went,
Let's do this.
Let's do this. Yo, let's get another beer.
Perfect third act.
We'll find someone else.
Yeah, absolutely.
So Dave Murray
saved Maiden, guys.
Saved the band.
No matter whatever anybody thinks of him, we love him here. But you know, he saved the band. He did. That was probably it's the most joyous part of reading this entire section.
Yeah, it's a cool moment.
Yeah, absolutely. And you can imagine him saying it with a wee chuckle. Yeah, a wee chuckle at the end of every sentence. You know what I mean? And he's a way to play a bit of golf.
And it's great. It's the guy who never really says anything. Apparently, you know.
And that's one thing as well. Like looking online too, like he has been there from '76. Brief period where he got kicked out. What he fell out? Was it Doug Sampson? No, or what do you call him? The singer.
Thunderstick or whatever.
No, it was the singer. The Kiss one, the boy with the sword. Can't remember. Is it Doug? It's not Doug Sampson. He's a drummer. Oh, can't remember. Anyway, just this moment in time.
Thunderstick was a drummer, was he? I can't remember.
Was Doug Sampson not the drummer too?
Aye, but it wasn't Doug Sampson. It wasn't Doug Sampson. It was that other guy.
It was the singer.
Tim Wilcox. Was that his name?
I can't remember.
Anyway, whoever it was, it's going back.
Anyway, so fuck that. So they just and then he's been there. He's Steve's right hand man.
Yeah, he's been there really from the off, hasn't he?
He's been there for 44 years.
Yeah, it's scary.
Yeah.
And this was really a really important moment to step up.
Yeah.
And say, no, we're not quitting.
Yeah.
No,
and then,
why the fuck should we?
Obviously, you know, Bruce is now going to not be a part of Maiden for a while.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't know that at the time, but yeah, you know, this is, you know, it's a brave new world. You want to say that? But you know,
not yet. Not yet. It's not.
But you know, the facts in the light of day are that they're going to have to find somebody else.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I suppose at this juncture, should we have a brief chat about the live albums?
I think so.
That come out then and
I think we should leave what happens after to the next episode. It's going to be a longie.
Right. So I think we should go up to Raising Hell here.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. But we cut it there.
And then we cut it there.
Yeah,
yes,
we cut it there. And then
absolutely.
we talk about the arrival of our hero.
Oh, yes.
The arrival.
Leave that for next time.
Completely independent. The man that is. Well, anyway, we'll talk about him later.
We'll talk about him.
So, live albums then. The year of live albums, 1993. Yeah, musically, 93 was a big year, wasn't it? We were right in the middle of grunge. Metallica are doing the tour that wouldn't stop.
Yeah, Metallica are doing the Black Album.
Soundgarden.
Yep.
Alice in Chains.
Nirvana.
Pearl Jam.
Still...
Nirvana. Yep. Well, they'd actually sort of stopped touring in the 90s. It's weird when you look back at that. Reading 92 was their last proper gig.
I'm not sure they toured in utero, did they not?
That was 94.
So they haven't stopped touring?
No, but like this year.
Oh, sorry. Right.
This year.
Sorry.
Sort of the big players touring, Metallica were massive.
Right. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Metallica have become the heavy metal band, aren't they?
Yeah, well, that's it.
And really, it's important to bring that up because underlying...
Well, you can't always bring it up these episodes, but you're right to do so, I think, you know.
Yeah, you have to put it in context because underlying the whole thing is... That's what Bruce Dickinson are unhappy about. Maiden have been, you argue they were right up there until 88.
Oh, aye. Well, Seven Son of Seven Son got a very, very high score.
Yeah. You know, so
I love it.
They're still cutting edge of metal until that point. You know, the last two albums haven't done it.
They've been mediocre.
And they've been overtaken.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you've some huge albums have come out and Maiden have been left behind. And definitely the production for me is a huge part of that. They've tried something different in this barnyard studio.
Yeah.
It hasn't paid off. Actually, with diminishing returns.
Yeah,
for
that's
me,
it.
I think No Prayer for the Damned is okay.
Yeah.
Still, you know, not up to par, but it was okay. You see what they're trying to do.
Yeah.
Fear the Dark, I think, was both writing wise and production wise. It just doesn't do it. And you know, it's trying to compete with the Black Album. It's trying to compete
which to date, I still think is one of the greatest produced albums of all time.
Stunning.
If you can listen to that now, flip 20.
It's
30 years later.
It sounds amazing.
And it sounds incredible.
Bob Rock is just, he's almost the star of the album.
His name is his calling card.
Calling card. But it just sounds
it leaps
incredible.
out of the speakers, yet, you know what I mean?
It does.
It sounds fabulous.
It really, really does. And
heavy ass.
And that production's such a big thing. And it sounds so powerful and big, and it kind of leads the way.
Yeah, absolutely.
Super produced metal albums.
Scoop mid massive boogie amps. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You look at Dimebag's sound.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
The production's ace.
Yeah,
it's absolutely brilliant, and that's Terry Date as a producer.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Megadeth, of course, follows suit. Countdown to Extinction. Max Norman does a stunning job, and I don't mean the crap remastered version. If you're on Spotify, it's the 1992 version. The production is amazing.
Yeah.
Like, it's just whether you like them or not, it is a fantastically produced album.
It's KSAD 93.
KSAD's 93. Yeah.
Yeah. As well as another one coming out from left field.
Sounds great.
One of the best metal albums. One of my favorite metal albums of all time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Some brilliant stuff on there, and it sounds big.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You've got what year's Angel Dust?
Angel Dust is 92.
92. Alice in Chains must be doing
the Dirt was 92.
Aye.
Jar of Flies is 93, I think. Need Anto.
Yeah. But you get the picture anyway.
Yeah, exactly. And these are all American.
By the way, Use Your Illusions albums have been out 92, so Guns N' Roses are probably
91.
91. Mm-hmm. Are they still touring then?
Yeah,
they might be about to fart about with the spaghetti incident, but
yeah,
still,
Guns N' Roses are at their ebb now, aren't they? But yeah, I suppose Faith No More, that's one of my favourite bands.
Yeah,
I completely forgot about.
That's happened. Still, those Guns N' Roses albums are 91. That's Fear of the Dark's 92.
Yeah.
No Prayers 1990. They're huge rock albums.
Yeah. Pearl Jam's Versus is another really, really good album from them.
Brilliant album. They've had both 10 and Versus, back to back.
Yeah, pretty
brilliant
much.
albums. So you have a lot going on in the rock world.
It's just left them behind.
And they've been left behind. So they have, as painful as it is to say.
And I think Bruce is the only person that really
sees that.
Not sees it, Andy, admits to it.
Admits to it.
I'd say the others knew too, but they would never say.
I don't think so.
I think they're. How could you not? How can you not sort of admit that? Yeah, it didn't sound as good. Bruce has the cojones to say that, right? Steve does come out and say maybe it just didn't. He thought the songs were strong. Yeah, that's fine. The songs aren't as strong.
I don't think Steve has ever said anything about that era that would lead me to believe that he doesn't believe in it. Remember, he produced them as well.
Aye, well.
So he
suppose he maybe says it, but maybe says other people say. Maybe I've misread it. Or...
I really don't. And how could you? I suppose my take on it would be that these guys are in. When you're in it, you maybe don't see. It's very hard to see the wood for the trees, and you're on tour all the time. You're playing, and then you go home. You're maybe not sitting listening to metal or possibly just putting it out there. I don't think you read Nico's comments there, I don't think Nico's thinking, we've been left behind and Bruce doing the right thing. Not at all. No. Bruce is a wise guy and is also ultra competitive in a different way. I think he would have always been conscious of what was going on around him in a way that maybe the rest of the band, aside from Adrian, had his finger on the pulse, I think a bit more.
Yeah.
I don't think, and let's also maybe make a point there. The quality of how the band were playing has already caused Adrian to leave. And Adrian said that to Steve, and Steve just went, "No, you're gone."
Yep.
And now Bruce is kind of, this isn't really sounding the same. It's not. And this is where we should talk about the albums, because does it sound the same?
No, well, I have to say a couple of things, but I want to hear your take on them first.
Okay.
What will we start with? We're going chronological?
We'll go chronological. We'll go a real live one first.
Real live one first. Okay, right.
So real live one's the post somewhere in time stuff.
Yep.
the first thing I would say about these albums are the production. Yeah,
100%.
Which is a very kind of dry production.
Mm-hmm.
It's the first thing that comes across to me.
The thing which is put forward by Steve is the crowd noise.
Yeah. I don't mind the crowd.
I don't mind the crowd noise at all.
Don't mind the crowd
noise.
I
don't have an issue with it really on Live After Death though, which is what his big truck is. So
no.
Performances wise, they're pretty good. One thing on this album, as is on Donington as well, Tail Gunner is a great song.
Yeah, Tail Gunner is a great song. Yeah, it's one of the best tracks in this album.
Yeah, I agree. It's nearly. I think it's well.
That,
I know it, Fear the Dark. Yeah.
I'm totally with you on that.
The Tail Gunner's class.
Best tracks.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Tail Gunner comes across really, really well.
It does.
So it does.
Can I Play With Madness? Does not come across that well.
It misses Adrian terribly.
It does indeed.
And I actually think so does quite a lot of it. But Heaven Can Wait and Evil That Men Do miss Adrian terribly. And the whole album misses Adrian.
Yeah.
Because for me, a big thing that really comes across on these live albums.
Bear in mind, we haven't talked about this, and we don't do it because we always like to see how people think. But I think I know what he's going to say.
Do you know what I'm going to say?
Because it's been boiling my piss for weeks.
You've been wanting to say this, have you? Is the guitar tone, and it's gone really single coil Strata.
Yeah, mental, just
yeah. And therefore. There's two things. It's gone very single coil Stratocaster sound. Both guitars are using
thinner, higher in the mix, toppy.
Yeah, and it's not beefy.
Yeah,
it's not thick. It's not. To me, it doesn't sound like Maiden.
Misses the groove.
It misses the groove as well, and it
sounds
that's
stupid. Maybe you think that's a silly word to say, but Smith
gives
you groove. He gives you rhythm. He gives you, he is. Davey and him are like yin and yang.
Yeah.
Perfect together.
Yeah.
Yannick is an incendiary guitar player. Mm-hmm. Fantastic. This is not his finest hour.
No, it's not. No,
I don't think it's anybody's finest hour. I'll talk about another one in particular, which really did annoy the hell out of me when I was listening to it.
Do they miss... Is there a lack of groove here because the band are playing too fast? Or because of the guitar tones?
Or is it because of the songs they've chosen?
Both, and the songs they've chosen. Yeah. Is it a combination of all of those?
Yeah.
I think there's a bit of all of that involved, and it just means that they're winging through the songs really quickly. Some of the playing's a bit scrappy, therefore. The guitar tone sounds a bit dead, a bit flat.
Floppy drums is another thing.
There's another,
slappy drums.
Slappy drums.
Like that's
very dry.
It
sounds like he's just the mics that are going into the mixing desk. It's taking that.
Yeah.
Got the levels a certain way, and that's it.
That's it. Yeah. I get that impression.
There's no, that needs reverb. That needs thickened. That needs. There's no actual, for me, what I would call production. There's no real. Everything's dry.
Yeah.
There's no reverb on the voices.
Yeah.
There's no, and the irony of all of that, there's a couple of ironies. One is that why are Maiden guitar-wise all of a sudden sounding more like Rainbow from the 70s when they're...
Well, there's a massive reason why. But
when they're up against, James Hetfield's Explorer
Scoop Mid Massa Boogie, exactly.
Yeah,
they're playing more of a Hendrix setup.
Doesn't make any sense. Some people would turn around and say, well, Nirvana's sound was a bit, maybe some of that grungy stuff wasn't as big guitar sounding, or Pearl Jam's didn't have big scoop, but
it didn't. But
they're a grunge thing. Maiden are metal.
They also played many different instruments and many different amplifiers, and it would have been a more punk aesthetic as what was lying there.
Yeah.
So,
so it's just a really strange decision. I think there's a lack of dynamics as well. Yeah. It's just basically clean,
four to the floor,
and
straight on,
and distorted. There's nothing else.
Yeah.
There's no sense of dynamics, and some of those parts really, some of the parts of the songs really miss a variation in tones.
Yeah.
to give.
Absolutely.
Different ambience, different. Yeah, you know, if you think of like Rime of the Ancient Mariner on Life After Death,
yeah,
look at the amount of different atmosphere and everything that they move through. There's nothing on this live album that comes anywhere near that.
Or when you hear that Sea of Madness record, that live version of Sea of Madness is another great one, which not many people would have heard, you know, from the Somewhere in Time tour. But yeah, this album is, you know, to an uninitiated person, it would be okay. As a document, it's not as good. It's not the document. It's an abridged version of Donington 92, in my opinion.
Yeah.
If you want the document of this time, that's the one you would have.
I prefer Donington 92 is the best of this bunch.
Do you think so?
Yeah.
I don't.
Yeah.
I'll tell you why.
Well, Raising Hell's really enjoyable. I suppose I view Raising Hell more as
Raising Hell's not my favourite one.
Oh, right, okay. Sorry.
That one is.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah.
Really?
Just, I'll tell you why in a minute or two.
Okay.
But, so, real live one I have is March.
Real life one, and the other irony just of the thing is the guitar tones, etc., just being so out of touch with what's going on in the metal world. Drums, good comment. It's just
sloppy,
really dry and sloppy. But the best performance of the whole thing, the best performer is Bruce. By a mile.
Yeah, absolutely. Totally.
Bruce Dickinson to me sounds fantastic on these albums. Like, fantastic. He's the star of it. I don't.
The whole way.
Yeah. And I'll go for that across all of these live albums.
Okay. Yeah.
Right through. I think he sounds amazing.
Yeah. You're right.
Why I don't really
sad.
It's sad and it and strange. It's strange, you know. But I would side with. I can see why now. At the time, I was like bemused, but I was 12. You know, why is he leaving? You know. But
true.
Now and for a long time, I thought, he was right. You know, the band was definitely not what it was. It's declined within the space of what?
3 years.
3 years.
Yeah.
You could say 3 to 4 years.
Listen, Mrs. Adrian Smith.
Mrs. Adrian Smith.
Yeah. Bottom line.
Yeah. And Martin Birch or a new producer.
Yeah.
It misses is the other
and especially
massively key element because you know, if you look at we're saying about Yannick and the guitars, but he's not producing the album.
No.
You know, since you know, if you listen to him and his guitar tones on Brave New World, he sounds great.
Yeah.
That's because he's got a producer who's got his guitar tones sounding awesome.
Absolutely, yeah.
You know, that's a producer's job to make every note sound great. To make, you know, it just isn't there.
Yeah.
You know, it's very flat sounding. So I think we made our point on that one.
Defo. So next up, released wise. Well, where did we go? Because this is recorded then. I don't know when it was released.
We'll go for release. So next is A Real Dead One.
Real Dead One. No. Real Dead One. Edge is a real live one for me.
Right.
Purely. It's exactly the same problems.
Yes, I agree.
But purely, it is more interesting.
I would agree with that because the material's better.
Yeah.
You know?
There are parts... When I got this, and it's a CD that it's the only CD that's in my car, these. You know, I actually found out that I had all these in CD. Remember I asked you for the copies of them?
You had them all?
Twit, honestly.
Gathering dust.
I know. But yeah, I just think the choice is very good.
Yeah.
There's you know, a lot of them we didn't hear in Live After Death.
Yes.
And that's what I like about it. I appreciated it as a fan. Now, not having went backwards. Number the Beast was the first one I had. And then I went forwards. I didn't go back to the Diano era until this. I started hearing these ones.
Yeah.
You know, so yeah, we've got Prowler, Transylvania. I'm like, whoa, an instrumental. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Then Remember Tomorrow, which was like, what?
What?
And then Where He Goes There. which is a fantastic version. And a song I like but don't like that much.
Yeah.
But I love the version and I think it's class.
I think it's part of me. I love that song.
I know you
I
like.
love Peace of Mind. And I do like that version. I still struggle with the guitar tone on it. It's not.
That's a problem for
chunky.
every single one of these.
That's the problem with the whole thing.
Yeah.
But I think Bruce sounds fucking incredible.
Yeah, he does.
Singing it live and at that speed as well. It's like he just absolutely nails it.
He does. It's great, you know. But I do think, apart from maybe 2 Minutes to Midnight, which I don't think they ever did without Adrian Smith.
No, 2 Minutes to Midnight is pretty bad and a real dead one. It's abysmal on Donington 92.
Yeah, Donington 92. Yeah.
It's and yet, as I'm going to say, I think that's the better live album of this bunch. But 2 Minutes to Midnight's really bad. The intro and all, it's all over the place.
Yeah.
But anyway.
So what do you think more? Anything else about it? That's like, again, I'm picking these. I'm saying A Real Dead One's my favourite out of the three, but it's only because it's the most interesting. It's not for any musicality, not for any quality of production. We know the songwriting's better. There's no other thing.
So it's better songs.
It's better
songs.
Yeah.
The production aesthetic is the same, exactly the same. There's no difference. But better songs. I mean, Hallowed by Thy Name, even with that production, sounds amazing.
Yeah.
You know, Bruce just sounds absolutely phenomenal on this. I think, you know, compared to, I think we said Made in England, he didn't sound that good.
Well, he's sick.
He sounded ill, you know, sounded like he had the flu. But
I played far too bloody fast.
Playing too fast in this as well. But Bruce is just on top form, I think. So yeah, a better choice of song. I like them doing Where Eagles Dare. I particularly like them doing Prowler, Transylvania, and Remember Tomorrow. Remember Tomorrow's a great song, and to hear Bruce singing it live is fantastic. Yeah, you know, especially the big scream.
Yeah, because I heard that and I was like, wow.
Yeah,
I haven't heard that, and just listening back to it, I haven't heard that in a long time.
It's a great song. So that yes would mean, for me, A Real Dead One is better than Real Live One.
I do. You know. Now, I want to hear why you think, we'll go on to Donington, which is the next one.
Okay,
right?
yeah.
I want to hear why you think, why it's the best one. Why you think it's your favourite.
I preferred, I watched Donington.
Oh, you watched it, right, Grant, okay.
So it did, and although 2 Minutes to Midnight sounded really meh to me,
Iron Maiden.
It needs Adrian. There's a couple of reasons. One was, I think the band genuinely sounded like they were enjoying themselves.
Oh God, it was pre-announcement, so
it's pre-announcement. I like the fact that it's where Maiden should be.
Donington.
Yeah.
You mean yeah.
You know,
fair.
It's
good point.
It's a big show. It's, you know, there's something just comes across as more. Yeah, that's what Iron Maiden should be doing.
Yeah.
I'm not so sure A Real Live One and A Real Dead One. I don't really see. I'm not sure I see the point of them as releases.
When as the three of these together.
When you were going to do the three of them.
Yeah.
Why?
I don't think they were going to. I don't know why they did that.
Why they did.
I wonder is that and you know, even the release date of that, Andy, it's like 3 weeks after Real Dead One.
But
is it a stocking filler? No, it can't be. Is it why? And the bootleg cover and all, you know.
Yeah.
Was the plan to be released?
It was done as a limited edition release first.
Right, okay.
Then released as a video. Then only later on released as a as a CD album in the 98 remasters, I think. So was it maybe that they didn't just view it as a full live album release? Or, I don't know. For me, if you were going to do a live album at that time, why wasn't it just done in 92? Why do a real live one and a real dead
That's
one?
what I don't understand. Because you're copying.
Yeah.
I would argue
live album fatigue.
Yeah, live album fatigue. Anybody out there who doesn't have any of these, buy Donington 92. It's the one you should buy. Yeah. It's not my favourite for a couple of reasons. Number one, I listened to this in the car, and I don't know where it's a remaster or what. I pointed this before I actually, at the weekend there, actually went out with my headphones. So in the car, whatever way this is mixed, Dave's guitar is really high. And I couldn't hear Yannick. And I was going, that sounds crap.
Right.
Because I couldn't hear what Yannick was playing. It might be my car, you know what I mean? I don't know.
I have to say.
But then when I put in headphones, it did sound a lot better and a lot more balanced.
Yeah.
But it's not the... I think the playing isn't particularly good.
Good.
Bruce is fantastic on
Bruce is fantastic.
And the thing that has to be mentioned here is his crowd interaction in Bring Your Daughter to the Slaughter is cool.
It's brilliant.
I love to see that. I've never seen that.
Yeah.
You obviously have been there at the tour when you were wee lad, but I would actually love them to do that.
Yeah.
To hear that.
It is a cool
It's
part
nearly
of the
Freddie
show.
Mercury-esque, who I absolutely adore.
Getting the crowd to sing along and
Pretty
stuff.
much, yeah. Which Maiden do now. They didn't do it then. Fear of the Dark was, okay.
Yeah.
We do it now as 40-year-old men or 50-year-old men or women or whatever. You do it, you expect it every time. But this is...
call response with the crowd was
it
was really, really cool.
But even with the Fear of the Dark, you know, and Donington 92 would be the one I would recommend you buy out of them.
Me too. Me too. For me, it's
largely... It's my lowest scored, but anyway. But we're talking fractions.
Fractions.
Like, pretty much.
I think because it's one show, I like that.
It's
because
the first time we have that official.
Yeah.
And a complete show from beginning to end, which I quite like.
Because it's kind of the stage where Maiden should really be.
Yeah.
And because to me, you're getting an 100% Bruce Dickinson.
Yeah.
Because of the fact that it's on the stage that they should be.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And
not in Zurich. Helsinki.
He's So he's brilliant. The other thing that I really like is, you've got the guitar tone issue still. Absolutely, the production aesthetic isn't any different from the other live albums there, but the Adrian Smith playing Running Free at the end.
I watched the wee video of that there.
Way better. Now, even if it's a bit rough, as in it clearly hasn't been a jam beforehand.
No.
It's just Adrian's come up, you know. But I particularly like halfway through it, like Bruce says, "I think you're doing fucking great." Gives him a nod. And I don't know, just watching Bruce, it's maybe not the easiest to see because of all the slow-mos and the grainy black and white and stuff. But I think Bruce in particular really enjoyed Adrian
being there.
I think he could hear the difference.
Yeah.
You know, and if you listen to it in your headphones, bands sound instantly better. Even if it's maybe the guitar work between the three isn't,
it's not as polished as what it is now. Yeah.
It's just the song, just the tone.
They just look like
the tone.
Great crack.
And they look like they're having a great laugh, but all of a sudden they sound bigger.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And
that's
because of Adrian's tone. And just one thing as well.
Go ahead, sorry.
There's a bit in the breakdown in Running Free, right? And Adrian's just hanging some notes. And doing a couple of wee bluesy curls. So yes, I think that's when Bruce says to him, "I think you're doing fucking great, by the way." And those are actually the bits you just go, "Oh yeah." And it's only a couple of notes.
Of things to come.
It's only a couple of notes, but the other two don't have that tone.
No.
The other two play a note and ring it out. It kind of sounds like muck in comparison because I don't know what they're using or what they're plugged into. Adrian hasn't just went and plugged in.
No. Adrian hasn't brought us rig with him, has he? He hasn't.
Well, maybe he's got a pedal or something with him.
I don't know.
But maybe he's just not.
It's his fingers.
Maybe he's just got. It's his fingers.
Yeah.
I bet he's got a humbucker.
He's
using
playing,
a Strat.
He's playing a Strat. He's playing a Strat. That's right. Just trying to think.
The other two are single coiling it.
Yeah.
And even maybe it's that. It just sounds thicker. I don't know, man. Listen to that wee bit. There's just presence and note of the note, and just there's a bit of something about it,
presence of the note.
Presence.
Love it.
Yeah. So
love it.
So that adds a wee magic touch.
Yeah.
I think at the time as well, I remember thinking it was kind of a nicer way for I think Adrian says this, he never got saying bye-bye to the fans or anything like that. And it was kind of a cool thing, and obviously a sign of things to come.
Yeah.
So for those reasons, I'd kind of choose that over the other two albums.
I actually think at this period, and then what we're going to do later on, is nearly the most interesting.
There's a lot to talk about, I suppose. Yeah, it doesn't mean it's the best.
No,
but
it's really
it's interesting. Yeah, because there's a lot going on.
Yeah, a lot of wee nuggets as well. A lot of wee things people don't maybe know, and a lot of things that maybe either disappeared, or a lot of similarities you can sort of make the more you listen. But anyway, right, Raising Hell then.
Raising Hell.
So Raising Hell
is the final show recorded at Pinewood Studios in London, England.
In 28th of
August. I remember watching it on BBC Two.
So do I. It's not the full show, but I'm just trying to remember because I had it in video.
That's true.
Watched it till it ran out.
So it was televised, but there was a couple of tracks not put in the televised version, one of which was Transylvania. And
I can't remember.
Heaven Can Wait and something else.
Don't remember that now, yeah.
I think were not included on the live television broadcast. Maybe Bring Your Daughter to the Slaughter.
Yeah.
As well.
Was it Free to See Strangers? No.
I don't know. I think it was in the TV one. Oh, yeah. But
I don't really remember. I remember I've watched it, but I can't remember. I watched it when I was 13.
It's a strange one, Raising Hell, for me, because it's a sad occasion, because Bruce is leaving. You've got all the same production issues. The sound is the same as those three live albums we talked about. Bruce sounds fantastic.
Very, obviously, to the cameras as well.
Cameras are
Stage
on.
performance. The magic thing, I love. I think that's really cool.
I love the Simon Drake.
Yeah. Titillated the life out of me as a young teenager.
I thought it was cool. I thought I had a little bit of something.
Nico Cam, awesome.
The Nico Cam is amazing. It's the best Nico Cam ever. That was the best thing about it. Possibly the Nico Cam is awesome.
It's hilarious.
It's back to more the Made in England aesthetic.
Yeah.
It's very much just no pouncing about with black and white or slow-mos or anything like that. It's just showing the band straight, clean camera work.
Yeah.
You know? And it's just a straightforward performance. They're just kind of blasting through these songs. One of the things I do find odd about it is that it seems like a bit of a damp squid to me, in a sense, because it would have been a very sad non-event of an ending to a great band. Yeah, you know, as Bruce leaving, and it seemed that way. There's definitely a lack of fire.
Yeah, there. Maybe going through the numbers.
You know, and perhaps, as I've said before, the production they're really hamstrung by that. I think just the guitar tones and stuff. There's no power. Yeah. There, and it's definitely not doing justice to the playing. I just think they've got that side of it all wrong. Yeah. But is it an enjoyable? It's an enjoyable watch more than it would be an enjoyable listen.
Well, I'm not hunting eBay looking for a VHS copy of it.
We can get it on YouTube for
nothing. You can get it on YouTube for them.
So you can. It's an enjoyable enough watch.
Yeah, I do. You know,
it's not the finest hour. You know?
No, it's not. It's enjoyable. It is enjoyable, but again, I wouldn't be rushing to be buying the album of that. If you know what I mean.
No.
But
it's all right.
I just always want to know, why did they do it?
I think it's an odd thing too.
What was the end game? I do think there is a business decision that has been made. If this is it, we make as much money for the band, the company, as we can. I do think that. And I'm being facetious, and there's no evidence, but just looking at it from being cynical and looking at things in this day and age.
Well, they've got much money from putting a show on BBC Two.
I released it on VHS and stuff.
Well, I suppose they've put out three
BBC commissioning
three live albums.
They're not going to go
and Donington '92.
Say, here we want Iron Maiden, like.
They've had 3 live albums in that year.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's just another
way to make a few quid.
Could have been.
A visual spectacle to support the oral AU.
Yes.
RAL. Spectacle.
Audio spectacle.
Audio.
So we said to be safer.
Yeah.
And Donington was going to be put out as a VHS. Obviously, you know.
I still think that's. I still think. I don't know if that was part of the long-term plan.
You could be right.
I could be right. I don't know whether, and we never know whether I will or not. That's the thing.
My take would be that it was more of a, we can't just let that, you know, there's Bruce leaving the band. We can't just let that go without doing something.
Stick him in an Iron Maiden.
We need to.
You mean it like a leaving do kind of thing?
Yeah, I think there was. But it was more.
They hated each other at that stage.
I know, but how far in advance did they have to? Maybe this was organised when Bruce told them. They made these decisions. They were going to.
Well, you just don't get Penwood Studios in a day's notice.
Exactly. So you know, maybe it was booked with. You know, it'll be a celebration where, you know, as Bruce had said, look, I'll go out with a bang whenever way the band want to do it.
Okay.
So I think it was booked ahead with that intention.
Yeah.
Without any of them really realising that relationships would go so sour so quickly, and they would struggle through the tour and kind of really be sick of the side of each other by the end of it. And it was just a case of getting the show done and going their separate ways.
Yeah.
Particularly difficult that the tour had finished in June, so they were coming back just to do this one show.
Yeah, that's the other thing.
You know,
it's weird.
Yeah, it is a bit of a weird thing, and it does have a bit of a weird atmosphere to it.
Yeah.
As a result of that, you know, it does have that vibe, but I think it was just planned in advance, and they didn't realise that would be the state of play.
Yeah.
Come August.
Yeah,
93, that the atmosphere would have turned quite so foul.
I do also think the idea of it is ahead of its time.
To do a live or a
like
TV broadcast,
with the magicians.
Oh yeah,
but the magic as well. Spectacle. You know, at the end of the day, it's gross. It's eventually. Well, after that was Penn and Teller. I always remember it was gross on TV. It was like about 94, I would say, or maybe 93. I don't know.
Yeah.
And then you got Street Magic, and then you got Chris Angel.
For anyone who hasn't seen this, by the way, we probably should explain it. Simon Drake is like a horror magician, and he's, you know, he cuts people up, and
he cut Dave Murray's hand off.
He cuts people up, pretends to cut his hand. You know, all this kind of stuff, you know, goes on, and Bruce gets put into an Iron Maiden right at the end.
Yeah.
And then a giant Eddie comes out and lifts Simon Drake and puts him on a spinning spike and all. That's all that kind of, you know, theatre
spectacle,
and, you know, horror magic type of thing. It is kind of cool. I think, would it be fair to say that the other aspect of this may have come from Rod on, like, we're going to get this put in the BBC. Not every band could go to the BBC and go, right, we want to put on a prime time concert. You know, it was a bit of an odd thing.
I don't know about that. Maybe Smallwood pitched it to them.
I don't remember seeing a lot of heavy metal bands
this is it.
an hour and a half long concert on BBC Two.
BBC wouldn't be commissioning it either. That's the other thing.
You know,
like BBC wouldn't be commissioning. They'd be commissioning friggin' Noel's House Party here. You know what I mean?
So I think there's an element here of, like, it's going to be the last show. The last show has to be on home soil.
Okay.
And how do we
write a book about this part?
How do we do? We can't do a really huge show. We've already done Donington.
Yeah.
We've done so many. So the other way of doing it. Why don't we do it somewhere? Do it in TV.
Yeah.
And that's probably been the thinking. And they can put on a bit of a spectacle. You know, the audience. It was all fan club winners and competition winners.
Okay.
And the other thing that it does is it puts a message out there that Bruce Dickinson's not in Iron Maiden anymore. That's it. They slam him into an Iron Maiden and they kill him.
Yeah.
There's no ambiguity. There's no.
I think that was pretty cool, actually.
Yeah. That was cool, but there's also a bit of a
closure.
Closure.
Yeah.
That's it.
Okay.
You know. Now it turns out not to be it, but not. You know.
Yeah.
For quite a few years. Oh, yeah. You know, and it does.
Until a certain day.
Until a certain day,
which we never thought would come.
It puts a. Do you know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah,
it puts a message out there.
I do.
You know, and it may be Rod going, look, these are my boys, home turf. Let it be known that Iron Maiden aren't finished. They're looking for a new singer.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think just closing a chapter type thing, maybe, as well. So,
yeah, I don't know. All in all, you know, not their finest hour.
No, a difficult tour, which is weird that they spun 4 live releases out of what they all admit was a very difficult tour.
Yeah.
And a difficult tour that has been produced by the bass player who was going through hell at the time himself. The singer's just announced that he's leaving his band.
Yeah.
And he's decided that he's going to produce everything himself as well. Mm-hmm. And it seems there's strange decisions being made there. I mean, why wouldn't you just get someone else in to produce it? Because you're obviously not in a good place.
Yeah.
What do you need that workload for start? And yeah, there's too many live albums.
There are too many and too many that are the same. Same track
so many track. You know, you know, it's a lot of product there with no variation and
not the best quality either.
And none of it adds anything to the band's legacy at all.
Yeah.
You know, so that's my summing up of that.
Yep. And it is where we started, the year that Maiden broke.
The year that Maiden broke, yes. So we should probably score the albums.
Okay, yep. In chronological order?
In chronological order, starting with a real live one. Yes.
Go for it, Andy.
So I'm going to give a real live one a 4 out of 10.
Oh my days, right? Okay.
I think it's pretty weak.
I've been really, really nice on my scoring of these albums.
I'm trying to put it in, you know, context of how we've graded other albums and stuff. And for me, it's a bit of a hard listen. Actually, getting through it, I found it a tough listen.
Did you?
Yeah.
No, I give it a bit more.
I did. I had to skip. Skip, like Wasting Love. I just had to skip halfway through. It just was, you know.
Did you watch the video? I remember told you to watch.
No, I didn't actually. No. I don't want to.
Don't watch it. Don't watch it. It's not Maiden.
Oh,
anyway, right. Well, okay. Real life one. I give it 7, but I'm going to cancel that. I'm going to score that out.
7?
I was trying to think to myself. I give Iron Maiden 7. Right, forget.
Don't cancel 5. That on my account.
I'm going to. No, I am. No, you're right though. It needs to be 5.
5. Okay. So.
So half a crown higher than. My score for Fear of the Dark was 4.5.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So real life one 5.
Yeah.
Okay. Donington 92, Andy.
No, a Real Dead one is next.
Sorry.
A Real Dead one.
A Real Dead one.
A Real Dead one. I'll give a. Let's see. I go for a 6 or 6.
Right. Okay.
I go for
6.
a Real Dead one. Yes. Yeah. Because as you said, there's interesting track selection there.
Yeah. Well,
at least.
I'll match in that.
You know,
6. It's my favorite one of the lot.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay. Fair enough. Donington 92. I'll go for a 6.5.
Okay.
It edges it for me, as I've said, because it's a full show. It's kind of more where Maiden should be at, and I think Bruce is kind of pretty outstanding on it, despite Yannick and I suppose the band making a bit of a pig's arse at the start of 2 minutes to midnight.
I give it a 6. Yeah. Again, it's. I find it at times a bit of a hard listen, but I say with respect, with hindsight, I would give it. I would say it was better than what I thought it was.
Yeah.
But and it was good to have Adrian back. But
yes,
yeah,
that's a big.
I'll not be listening to any of these again.
No, it's not. They're not something that I would listen to. You know, I've listened to them in years.
Yeah.
You know, they're not. it's not classic Maiden.
It hasn't been.
Know?
It hasn't been an enjoyable listen. It's been an enjoyable research and
Yes.
writing about it
Yes.
and thinking about it.
I would agree with that, but listening and watching hasn't been like, you know, it's not like, you know, when you stuck on, you know, when
Right
you're
off the
doing
bat.
like, you know, you know, it was like, wow, this is awesome, and it was cool listening to it, you know, numerous times. This wasn't like, as I say, a real life one. I actually struggled to listen to the whole way through.
And
Just,
you know, I can't give Raising Hell a score. You haven't scored a video yet.
we haven't scored a video yet. No, it's a very
just leave it as a curio.
curiosity.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's unscorable curiosity.
Unscorable curiosity.
Yeah.
Performance-wise, you know, what can you say?
Pretty much of a muchness.
The same sort
probably
of
a 6 or 6.5,
5-ish,
you know, something like in around that. But
something like that.
yeah, something like that. Make your own minds up, guys. Now, you may totally disagree.
And this is one episode which I would love to hear feedback on.
Yeah, so let us know.
We have read into this, the oral history aspect. Hindsight has changed all the band members' opinions, I think, as well.
Yeah.
So this is the bit which sees a lot of good things being sung. But it was a very bad era. So
yeah, difficult time for the band.
The end of a bad era, though, Andy. The end of that sort of 90 to 93. The end of I would say, well, I don't know. Not Maiden's finest hour, shall we say?
No, it's not. It's not. And some people would say there's still difficult times to come.
Yeah.
You know, 90s is a difficult decade for Maiden.
Totally.
I think most Maiden fans would agree with that. But I think that there is some better things to come, even in the 90s.
I agree.
I think personally. So,
but we can't talk about that.
But we can't talk about that here. Now, what are we going to do next? So, coming up on the Ed Factor is well, we're actually just going to discuss this very, very briefly. So, I think what we should do, Chris, is obviously we're going to be looking at the X Factor.
This is news to me, folks. Right.
Now, the X Factor comes out in 95.
Yep, does indeed.
And that will be a huge episode. It's a big album.
I would say it'll be our longest ever episode.
Could be a really long episode. There's a lot to dig into.
Get it on. Get out for a big walk.
Yep. But, Chris, I think we should, before doing the X Factor, I think we should do a wee review of Balls to Picasso, which comes out in 94.
Okay.
Because
we haven't done Tattooed Millionaire, but fair enough.
We haven't done Tattooed Millionaire, and I don't think Tattooed Millionaire has as much bearing on Maiden's trajectory as Bruce's albums from this point forward do.
Fair enough.
And I think it would be a cool idea to splice Bruce's albums
in
chronologically.
All right.
And if you're up
for
doing that,
you're on. All right.
So that's what we'll do. So we will see
you next time.
Next time for a Balls to Picasso Bruce Dickinson episode.
Exactly.
Before we then do our X Factor episode. So
I cannot wait today.
Thanks very much for listening, guys.
And like, subscribe, share, and please let us know what you think.
Yes, we really look forward to hearing your thoughts. And some of you guys may love these albums. And that does not, what we've said today doesn't mean that you're wrong. That's the thing about music. We all have different opinions. And please don't slate us for, you know, not being too kind to these albums. It's just the way we feel.
Exactly.
You may love them, and that's cool.
And you can always hit the X button.
Yeah. Right. So up the irons, and we'll catch you soon.
See you later.
Good luck.
Good luck. Bye.